This is Thank You Mama, weekly lessons from mothers all around the world. Hello and welcome to Thank You Mama. My name is Anna Tyler. My guest today is Danielle Fette. Danielle is a nurse and an expert in tissue regeneration. She's a co-founder and CMO of FetTech, a biotech company specialized in the healing process, and I'm very excited to hear more about this. Danielle is also a mom of two girls, and as I just found out, two dogs as well. But girls come first.
Yes.
Danielle, welcome to Thank You Mama. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. Let's start with FetTech because I'm so curious what you do at FetTech. And maybe later you can tell me how you got there. What is your journey?
Yeah, for sure. Well, FetTech is a regenerative medicine company, and my husband and I develop products that they use. Right now, we have a medical device cleared, FDA cleared product that they use to help regenerate the skin after someone's been in a fire or in a traumatic accident or they have a wound. And we help patients all across the country. I am a nurse by trade. My husband's a tissue engineer. And we're really working to advance this space and help patients in other therapeutic areas since our product recognizes injury in the body and then it signals to your body how to repair what's damaged. So the sky's the limit as far as the technology and ways that we can use the platform. And it should be really exciting to see what other patients we can help down the road.
Danielle, how do I imagine this product? Is it a cream? Is it what form does it come in?
The current product we have is a powder. So you sprinkle the powder on an injury and it tells your body to bring your body's own stem cells to the area and then it remodels what's injured.
That's amazing. Could I have used it after my C-section, for instance? Would it be useful for something like that? After
I mean, it would definitely help because it tells your body to not go into inflammatory response. Okay. And then, after inflammatory, the traditional way we heal as humans is scarring. So we don't get an infection in the opening. So this would tell your body to heal differently and to remodel instead of potentially scar.
Before we talk about your journey, how did your husband become what did you call him? A tissue engineer?
Well, he's an engineer. I mean, back when we started, so I went from nursing into medical device and then landed in the regenerative medicine space years and years ago and fell in love. My husband was a chemical engineer back when he was in school. And we're not too old. I mean, we're like 48 and 49. But when he was in college, they didn't have like biomedical engineering. So he did chemical engineering. And then he worked for other people creating devices in the regenerative medicine space. And one day we, realize our hands are tied. We care so much about helping patients, and the companies we were working for only cared about the bottom line. Like they didn't want to hear our ideas of how we could advance medicine. They had to answer to a board, and we saw some really ugly behaviors. So we actually got lucky. We both got fired from this in particular company. And although at the time I was devastated with a newborn, I said, listen, we can do this better than anyone else out there. I mean, between both of our backgrounds, we know most about medical device, and we're going to build a product or make a product that's better. We're going to get FDA approval. And if we don't take outside funding and we do it ourselves and we don't answer to a board and have those layers of red tape, we can actually get it to the patients that need it faster. So the goal was to devise a better product and bring it to the patients that need it faster. Because internally, my husband and I always feel like there's this internal clock and pressure. We're all going to be patients one day. And it keeps us up at night sometimes because we want to keep developing products knowing so many patients could benefit from them. Not just loved ones or potentially us one day, but all patients.
But now I want to learn a little bit about your mom, Jill.
Wow, my mom, Jill, is the most amazing mom out of any conversation I could have. This is the one that would probably get me most excited and most emotional because she means the absolute world to me.
Oh, tell me about her. What is her journey? What is her story?
Yeah. So, well, first, thanks, Mom. If you're listening, I definitely would not.
Hi, Jill.
I would not be here or the woman I am without her. Um, my mom grew up in extreme poverty.
Mm.
She was the old, and I cry because she's the most special soul you could possibly meet. And anyone that you would talk to that has met my mom would say the same thing. She was the oldest of seven, born in extreme poverty, took care of her siblings, was born by a teenage mom who was 16 when she had her. And my mom's soul is to nurture and help others. And she was the first she got a scholarship to go to college and married her high school sweetheart, which was my father. And together I watched them try anything and everything to make it, from opening a restaurant together to buying houses and flipping them. And I can remember really little going to these gross, disgusting houses and my mom on her hands and knees cleaning up cockroaches to flip the house and get money from it, to start up like Amway, Pyramid. I mean, McDonald's, you name it, my parents tried it. My dad kind of had an affair and abandoned the family when we were in high school.
How old was she?
They had me at 23, so they were younger. I would say probably 39, 40.
Okay, so she was young. Look
She
how
was
nice. At
young.
50, you call women of 40 young.
Yeah. My mom was always like the young, fun, hot mom that all my friends loved to be around because she was like the voice of reason and very nurturing to all of us.
How many children did she have?
So my mom had myself and my sister, who's we're very close to. She's 4 years younger than me. And then when my mom got remarried when I was in college, she helped raise my stepfather's children.
May I ask you where did she grow up?
She grew up in Philadelphia and like South Jersey area.
Okay.
And that's where I grew up, in South Jersey. And then I moved to Florida after college and I recruited her down here. I recruited my whole family down to Florida because we're really close.
Okay. But now let's go back in time. So she's 40, divorced, probably very hurt because of the betrayal, and has two girls.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing, and my family, and it wasn't a facade, it wasn't fake. If you would have asked my friends growing up or other families about my family, they would tell you like, wow, what a happy, loving couple. We would do family vacations together. I feel really blessed for my childhood. My dad was amazing. I loved my parents. So this was really out of the blue, this behavior. And I don't know why it happened. I don't know if it was alcoholism with my father or mental illness, but it was completely out of the blue. And yeah, so my mom held it together the best she could, but you can imagine when you grow up and you love someone, that betrayal. It's not like they had a bad marriage or, we thought everything was great. And my dad was really like hands-on, like would come to our sports games and we would travel as family. And we would watch football on Sundays as a family, and I would watch my parents and think, God, they're so in love. So it definitely did a number on her.
Sorry to interrupt you. Did he decide to leave, or did she decide when she found out this is...
It wasn't cut and dry like that. I think they tried to work it out.
Okay.
And, I can remember my dad driving me to my prom and saying, Danny, never trust a guy, because if I could do what I did to your mom, and I love her so much and she's the greatest, like anyone could do that to anyone. And, I remember my mom trying to give they went back and forth a couple times from what I recall, but then ultimately I don't really know whose decision it was.
So what did you do?
So my mom ended up eventually getting remarried and she moved to North Jersey. And then she ended up raising my stepfather's two children. And so my sister went to high school in North Jersey and I went to college. I don't think that was the most healthy, the best marriage. I think that she saw the good in him and he didn't give her the warm. My dad was like a really warm and huggy kind of guy. And I think she went the extreme. She went with someone that would never lie, honest to a fault, brutally honest, the opposite of my father in so many ways, had the strongest backbone, said it the way it is. But I don't know if there was moments she was really happy, but I don't know if she was trying to make something work because that's what she thought was best for her family and best for herself.
So she ended up divorcing him?
No, he ended up passing away suddenly
I'm sorry.
from something I think related to his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom, after that, I begged for her to move to Florida because she really is my bestie. So she moved to Florida with next to me and my sister.
How is she doing now?
Now she's living her best life. Man, she can run circles around us. I mean, she has the most amazing, I should say husband. They're not technically married, but they've been together for 7 years. And he's just really loving and supporting to her. And they play tennis and they go on walks and go to dinner. And it's amazing to see her in such a great place.
Danielle, I love hearing this so much. And you can't imagine how often I hear these stories when women in their 60s or even 70s, after all these challenges that life serves us and serve them, when they have like the happiest phase in their lives. I think this is, thank you for sharing this, because that is really inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's the one thing that my mom's taught us so many lessons, but she's an open book and she wears her emotion kind of like me on her sleeve. And, we all go through things in life, but it's like what you do, like how you handle those situations. And it's not that she numbs and doesn't feel the feels. I mean, she's the first one to bawl her eyes out on the ground and tell you she's upset or stressed, but we can't like stay in the lows too long, just like you can't stay in the highs too long. So she definitely taught my sister and I how to adapt to situations. And she's a warrior, and she's definitely, I'm going to figure this out. And the glass is always half full kind of person. And there's something greater than us that will carry us through. Mm-hmm. So, I've watched her overcome a lot, and I'm very proud of her.
So now we have a lesson number 1 already. Do you have more?
Yes, we do. My mom taught me unconditional love. And when I say love, I mean, when you love with your heart and soul, you listen, and it's nonstop love. It's unconditional love. And growing up, she just accepted me for who I was, never compared my sister and I, supported us. I mean, she really taught us what the true meaning of unconditional love was. I'm dyslexic. I struggled in school, and she would stay up at all hours of the nights helping me write papers and just making me feel like I could be and do anything. And she's really good at making people feel like that.
Mm-hmm. And here you are. Congratulations.
Yeah, and here I am today. And I attribute a lot of my success to my mom tolerating me when I was younger and jumping from activity to activity. I like when I feel good, and I'm not one that usually settles when things don't feel right or I don't like things. So I'm very comfortable with change, as a lesson I got from my mom. And I can remember just whether it was a musical instrument or a sport or a school or a friend group or a camp, I like to change quite frequently. If something didn't feel right, I would pivot and go on to the next. I don't know a lot of parents that, now as a mom, like that could be really exhausting, but she just constantly supported me and believed in whatever visions I had.
Danielle, how beautiful is this? I hear this often from daughters who had supportive moms. This unconditional love and not feeling judged ever by your mom. I'm learning through this podcast what I knew from my mom, but never put it in words or thought about it. But how beautiful and important this unconditional love and this support. It's the most important thing we as moms can give our children, really.
Yeah, I think, and that's what drives confidence.
Yeah.
When you're not afraid to be who you are and someone's proud of you and you can feel that. It's not lip service. You can't just say it. You have to feel it.
Yeah.
It empowers you to take risks and not be afraid if you fail.
Yeah. Do you have more?
From my mom, oh
Mm-hmm.
gosh, so much. A lesson I learned, I guess, on beauty and appearance,
Mm.
which could be a negative thing as well, if you will. But, I said my mom grew up very, very poor and her mom didn't take care of herself. So her mom was morbidly obese. And I can even remember when I was young going to visit her mom and like the floor would have sticky urine on it. Like you couldn't even
Mm-hmm.
walk and it would smell. And it was just a really uncomfortable environment. And my mom and her sisters are like anal neat freaks. I mean, at all
Mm.
times they look put together and not a superficial way at all. And it makes you feel comfortable, very comfortable to be around them, but they're always put together. Their houses are always put together. They always smell amazing. Like I'll run into the grocery store looking like a bum in sweats and like they would not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so although it was a good example of like what a nice house looks like and how it looks to be like put together at all times, I think it also taught me to be very aware of the image I'm portraying to my kids
Mm-hmm.
because my mom and her sisters are like drop dead gorgeous humans. But unfortunately, I don't think they ever felt as beautiful as they're all beautiful on the inside. But I
Mm-hmm.
wished growing up that they knew how flippin' stunning they were. I mean, my mom is like
Mm.
a Jackie O if I had to give the
Mm.
audience like a descriptive of what she entails and looks like. I mean, a class act, a beautiful soul. And it was hard for me growing up because I would look at my mom and be like, God, she is so pretty and is perfect in my eyes. Like I just looked at her like a goddess. And then I would look in the mirror and go through awkward phases and be like, oh gosh, if she doesn't like what she's looking at, like, should I be more self-conscious about myself? And she would tell me how beautiful I was and she made me feel good, but just seeing that always made me feel sad for her and her siblings. And that if there was one thing I could change about
Mm-hmm.
my mom, it would have for her to really know and feel as perfect and amazing as she is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the biggest one of the biggest life lessons, actually, if I'm keeping it real, is money does not buy happiness. Like, so my mom came from poverty. My dad had very, very wealthy parents. And growing up, I would go to my dad's family and I'm like, these are the most pretentious, boring. We were just bored. And we would sit here and we would be in the penthouse or maybe the sixth floor overlooking the ocean at their condo on the beach. And I'm like, I'm so bored. Like, this does not feel fun at all.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they loved us, it was like, life is not about who you are or status or money. And then I would go to my mom's house, my mom's side of the family, and we would take out a hairbrush and sing karaoke and make up fake videos and just
Mm.
play hide and seek and have so much fun. There was so much love and laughter. So I could never judge anyone from what they came from or what they currently have. And I definitely know that I can make lemonade out of lemons. Like I don't need money to have a good time. Who doesn't love extravagant things? It's fun to have money. Money gives us freedom in life to do what we want to do. But I love that lesson from my mom, not judging and knowing that money is not what drives happiness in a family.
Mm. That's such an important one. So important. It's beautiful that you had examples of both, that you really
Mm-hmm.
had it in front of your eyes of this family who doesn't have so much and is happy versus, yeah, sometimes, yeah, people sit on a lot of money and luxury and are stuck up and sad.
Right. Yeah. And you never know what goes,
You never know.
everyone has a story.
Oh, you
Everyone
never
has a
know.
story, and you never know what is going on behind closed doors. And if something's not happening immediately, at some point in everyone's lives, there's stuff behind the scenes that's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have more, or should we jump to my favorite question of what do you wish she taught you?
What do I wish she told me?
Something she wasn't able or didn't
to-
teach you, and you had to learn it by yourself.
I would say setting boundaries. My mom is so nice, like nice to a fault. Like if you like her shirt, she'll be like, do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that side of me. I love how generous, I love how caring and nurturing. But it's not until now. She's like, Danielle, your problem is you're too nice. You need to set boundaries. So that was something I wasn't as aware of when I was younger. And I don't know if any moms can teach that to their children, but I wish we had both of us had more conversations about boundaries. But I think as we both have evolved through life, that's something that both of us are working on and learning and talking about.
But it's interesting you put boundaries and caring for each other in the same answer. Would you separate those? Because I just had a guest who is a psychologist and working with mother-daughter relationships, and she talks a lot about this culture of female care and female service. It's interesting to learn from her how caring for others can be too much.
Yeah, no, I think with my mom and my relationship, the boundary setting wouldn't be with her. It would be with others that I would encounter through life. So we have a really healthy relationship where, I may have other family members that if I don't call them right back or a couple days go by, they're like, what's wrong? Is Danielle mad at me? But my mom just knows us so well. It's like almost like she can read my mind that we have very healthy boundaries within our own relationship. Mm-hmm. But with outside relationships. So people I may meet like through my daughter's sporting activities or, a friend of a friend. Like I'm so wanting to people please or help others that I wish younger on now I'm much better at it.
Yeah.
Put like a bubble around me to protect myself from other people's energy and to know like it's one thing to help others, but if it puts you out or is not healthy for you, then you need to say no firmly. And that's something that my mom was so nurturing and giving that she didn't always do growing up.
And that's a big problem. Sometimes we try to fill a void or get the love that we lack by helping others and caring for others. Mm-hmm. And we don't realize that that's not necessarily the best way.
And it's hard when it makes you feel good to genuinely, like I'm a nurse, I'm a caregiver. Yeah. I like healing people. I like helping people. But there comes a point in time where you're like, okay, I really just want to be at home. I don't want to have to go help this person. So it's important to be honest with yourself and put your own oxygen mask on first. But that's something that my mom and I have both, and my sister for that matter, have evolved into those discussions and that awareness of boundary setting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big task for all women to learn how to balance it right, because I think it is in our nature to nurture and care for others. But again, we have to figure out how much is too much. Mm-hmm. We all have the same homework.
Yeah, right. But then it is always amazing to me. I mean, there's constantly people I'll run into and it baffles me. I'm like, how do they feel comfortable? Like what would seem to me is taking advantage of someone's time, money. Like there's certain people that just expect like it's about them.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying, like with the way I was raised, it was not always about us. It was, my mom came from such a big family. She was always aware of everyone else around her. And sometimes if we become too focused on everyone else around us instead of yourself, you end up losing out at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Danielle, this is so fantastic and interesting. Now I want to meet your mom.
She is amazing. I'm telling you, like she's a force to be reckoned with. And like I said, I'm just so grateful. If she had not supported me along my journey and especially my adult career path, there's no chance that I would have FetTech and I'd be able to help people in the hospitals today the way we are.
Mm. Before we recap, is there anything else you'd like to mention?
I mean, I could mention that I'm pretty blessed because my mother-in-law is amazing, like my mom.
Oh. Moms come in different shapes.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm a city girl, and my mother-in-law is from Nebraska, is from the Midwest, and we come from very different worlds. But I think my husband and I have such a solid marriage because the morals and the values and how they were as mothers was so insanely similar that's what makes my marriage work with my husband. Our worlds may be very different from where we came from, but the way we were raised was so similar. So my kids are very lucky to have two awesome grandmothers.
Lucky girls.
Yes.
Danielle, let's recap quickly. As lessons we learn from Mama Jill, we have that there will be challenges in life, but it's about how you deal with them. You need to adapt to situations. it's okay to experience the negative for a short, but then you have to get your together
Mm-hmm.
and deal with it. And you said she was always a glasses half full person. Lesson 2, unconditional love, which is I think the most important thing moms can give their children. She'll listen to you. You called it nonstop love. I like that. And this feeling of acceptance, being accepted and loved for who you are. She supported you in everything you said. And even when you wanted to change things a lot, she was there and she supported that. And you said she made you feel like you can do everything, which is also very, very important. You learn to be comfortable with change. I think it connects beautifully to this previous lesson. And to change things if they don't feel right. So important. Then we have a beauty and appearance. And you wished that she knew how beautiful she was when she was younger, I guess now as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like she thinks she's ugly, but I think she always
No,
wishes
that
she was a
she,
little bit better.
yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
natural from the way she grew up. I get it.
And I like that she's always put together. I learned that from my mom as well. I mean, I'm trying to learn. I think we're just a different generation, but their generation was more, she would never, she always told me, at least put some mascara on and don't leave the house like this. And I like that. And very important lesson is that money doesn't buy happiness. Your mom's family taught you and showed you that even if the circumstances aren't the best, you can still be happy and have joy in life. And when I asked you what you wish she taught you, we spoke about boundaries and nurturing and caring for others and people pleasing. An answer I get so often, and obviously something we women really have to work on and be better at teaching our daughters. Did I miss anything?
No, and not at all. That was beautiful. I want to meet my mom now after. Now I know why my mom's so loved. It's nice to be able to take a moment and reflect on, how we become the women we are and what affects us in life.
Isn't it fantastic?
Mm-hmm.
This is why I started this podcast, because when I lost my mom, I had this panic that I was going to forget what she taught me. And this is how I got the idea for the podcast. And it's interesting how important these lessons are and where we come from, but we never really think about it until we lose them.
Yeah, no, that is the most beautiful thing. And although thank gosh I have my mom, I did lose my dad in an essence when he disowned us. And I was so close to him. So there's not a day goes by that I don't completely thank the universe for my amazing mom. And, I know she knows that. So I'm grateful for her.
Danielle, thank you so much again for being my guest.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
If you enjoy Thank You Mama and want to help it grow, please take the 2 seconds to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send me a mail at info@thankyouMama.net. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under Anna Teider, that's Tajder. This was Thank You Mama. Come back next week, subscribe, and tell your friends.